I'm Nita Carson. I've lived here in Oxford most recently for 7 years. I lived here earlier. I'm originally from South Carolina and grew up there. And it was probably in South Carolina, I would guess, is the place that I first became really aware of the natural environment and became a supporter or a lover of the outdoors. The earliest memory I have is going with my grandfather in the summers. My grandfather worked as a seasonal, he had a seasonal job in Florida, and so he was off in the summers. And in the summers, he would come to my home in South Carolina, and he would take us out in the woods exploring most every day. And the things we did were, it sounds so simple now compared to what kids do, but one day we'd be going to a stream, maybe to fish or maybe just to wade in the stream. Another day we would go pick catawba worms so that we could go fishing the following day. He taught us where the wild muscadines were, where the wild blackberries were, and so we picked berries when they were ripe, and so we spent most of our summer days outside with him growing up, and so for that reason, I've always been more comfortable outside than inside. From those childhood experiences, when I actually went to college, I majored in botany as an undergraduate, and my botany professor, who just died a few years ago, he was almost 100, but my botany professor, major professor, took us outdoors on field trips, and we went around the place in Columbia, South Carolina, which is now the Congaree National Forest. At that time, it had not been designated as that, but all around the Congaree River. And Dr. Batson was a tall man, over 6 feet tall, and he practically ran through the woods, and we had to sort of keep up with him, and he pointed out the plants that we needed to know and that sort of thing. One of the memorable experiences that I had as seniors, the botany students all went to Mount LeConte in North Carolina, and we stayed in one of the cabins there, and of course all the way up that long walk he pointed out plants, and while I would not myself kill a snake, Dr. Batson killed this rattlesnake mainly to show us that it was edible, and so he proceeded to build a fire right there on the rock and cut the rattlesnake in pieces and roast them, and he insisted that each of us taste a piece of the rattlesnake, which was, I remember the round piece because he cut it across the backbone, and it was white, and whether or not it tastes like chicken, I don't remember, but I remember that it was certainly okay, and but there were just those kinds of experiences in college, all the way through undergraduate school, again, just helped me develop a sense of caring, I guess, for the environment. And when I started teaching, I always taught a class in biology or ecology. That was both in middle school, high school, and then my last teaching was at the college level. And so I taught environmental education, environmental geology, biology, and it was always with the idea that climate change, I taught climate change long before it ever became a political football, because I had read enough to know that human beings were affecting the climate. And as I said, this was 25 years ago or more, when it wasn't politicized as it is now. And that's continued. I just a few minutes ago talked with my daughter, and we were talking about those same things, and I'm happy to say that both of my daughters, while at the time they were young, did not seem particularly interested in in these things. Both of them now are. So I guess it sometimes takes maybe 30 years or so until your children sort of hopefully develop the same ideas toward the natural environment that you have. At least that's been my experience.